What's on Your Mind is sponsored by ACC 339.0, New Style Radio 98.7 FM, Breakthrough Studios, and Reggae Jam Jam.
Good afternoon. How you doing, guys? Welcome to another program, a series of What's on Your Mind. I am Carl. The program is produced by Breakthrough TV. Hope all is well with you. Let me say thank you for tuning into the program. This is a live stream. We're going right out to you live at the moment. Big shout out to you wherever you are. Apologize, we weren't here last week, so we had to take a little bit of time out last week. So, but you know, sometimes that's how it goes. You know, I mean, let me say, big yourself up. I want to say big shout out to all my last guest that was here, Teacher Joseph. Big yourself up, Teacher Joseph. Hope all is well with you. And to all the guests we've had on this program, let me say big thanks to you. Thanks for taking part. So many of you, you know, I mean, Sister Marcia Anderson, big shout out to you. Teacher Joseph, I've just said. And Brother Nelson, you know who you are. Let me say big shout out to you. As far as my highly bred, big shout out to you. We had Shazzy D, big shout out to you, Shazzy D. There's so many people we've had, you know, I mean, this wonderful program. Sister Maureen Watson, big shout out to you. Let me say thank you. So many of you guys we've had on this program, and let me say we appreciate it very much, and we respect you for taking part in a wonderful program. Yeah, and as that we say very thank you. You know, I mean, let me say, as you know, I always look at a few things that's happening across the world. You know, I mean, and there's a lot of stuff being happening in the UK, so I'm not going too far this week. I'm going to go far, but I'm not going that far this week, you know, because there's a lot of stuff being happening in the UK. I'll say I look at a few things that's happening around the world, and then I go to my rants, and I have a better sense of humor this week, because I want to ask you something. Do you believe in ghosts? Or should I say, do you believe in dopey? I won't get excited. What is a dopey? What is your impression of dopey? And what is your experience of dopey? What is your experience of ghosts? I want to talk about this later on in the program. You know what I mean? That sort of humor. You know what I mean? And then they go into what they call the rolling calf, don't you? The rolling calf. So I want to sort of explore that and put your comments up. What you think of dopey and rolling calf? And I would good to hear your experience. You know, I mean, I'm going to tell you some of my experience that I've had over the years with dopey, both in the Caribbean and also in the United Kingdom. You know, I mean, and some of the most haunted place that is actually in the UK. You know, I mean, I know there's a very haunted place when I was actually going to school back on the island, and I was called Rose Hall. You know what I mean? And they always talk about this witch in Rose Hall, you know what I mean, in Jamaica. So I'm gonna explore dopey. I know you're gonna say, oh, what is he getting up to now? What is he getting up to? Well, you gotta have some fun, you know what I mean. And I also be looking at a few. If we got time, I'm gonna look at a couple of crashes that is been happening, you know what I mean, and you know what I mean, how to be more safe. Don't be careless, you know what I mean, or be aware of what you're actually doing, you know what I mean. No guests this week because, you know what I mean, we weren't here last week, so we need to sort of round up any more guests and get involved with any more guests. But we'll be back having more guests on the program very soon. And let me say thank you for tuning in, guys, and massive respect. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the program. Let me say thank you very much. I want to say big shout to you, Vaughn. How you doing, sir? Hope all is well with you. And I got to say, guys, sometimes I know you point me to different stories and you send me different clips, you know what I mean? We can't always use some of those stories, you know what I mean, because of different situations, you know what I mean? So let me say thanks for sending me your clips and for sending me your information, but sometimes we can't always use that because of some, you know what I mean, some kind of legality. So we always, no matter what you see we do here, we stay in the context of the legality, you know what I mean? Big shout out to you. Thank you for that. I want to say big shout out to you, Annette. How you doing? All the way up there in the United States. Gerline, how you doing up there in the United States? So all is well with you guys. Mabel, the other sister, let me say big shout out to you. Mackie, I don't know where you are. Billy in Jamaica, big shout out to you. Helen in Jamaica, big shout out to you. June, how you doing? United States, big shout out to you. Let me say thank you all for tuning into the program. Maxine, how you doing? Lydie, Carl, Glenna, Norma, big shout out to you. Hope all is well with you guys. Let me say thank you for tuning into the program wherever you are. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the program. Jennifer Wallace, big shout out to you. Miss G and Me. Don't forget to check that book out. That book, Miss G and Me, is actually a very fantastic book. It is written by Jennifer Wallace, and Jennifer Wallace actually lives in Canada. And what she actually does, she wrote this book about her mother. Her mother experience from coming to from Jamaica to the United Kingdom and then moving on to Canada. And it's a very, very marvelous book. And she actually talked about when her mother came to the United Kingdom within the 60s in the Windrush period. And her mother came to the United Kingdom when she was 17. A young lady, you know what I mean, come to the UK when she was 17 and having to make her way and do whatever she has to do to survive, you know what I mean. And it's a very, very wonderful book. So as I say, you should check that book out. The book is called Miss G and Me. And there's some very, very good very, very good, I should say, stories, but this is a real thing. It's not false. There's nothing about this is false. There's nothing in this is actually made up, so it's actually a real thing. So you should check that out, and it gives you a very, very insight into some of the things that happens in Jamaica, you know what I mean, and with Jamaicans and the Jamaican culture. And also, when she comes to England, it gives you some of the English culture that she actually has to go through, you know what I mean. We always say the book has come home. I interviewed Jennifer some time ago, not too long ago, you know what I mean, and we talk about that book, and she was absolutely marvelous. I'm hoping to have her back on the program very, very soon. Very, very soon. When the holiday starts, because I know she works in the school, so I have to wait until the holiday comes around. So let me say big, big shout out to you, Jennifer. Big. And to all your families up there in Canada. I hope it's not too cold up there. I did see your father in I don't know what he was in. He was like, was it a snow cave he was in? You know what I mean? And I thought, my days, I couldn't live like that. You know what? I know you guys enjoy it up there. So let me say big, 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 big shout out to you. Yes. Hope all is well, yo. Massive respect. Let me say thank you for tuning into the program. And all my guests who's coming up, let me say big, big shout out to you. I know a lot of you guys will be coming on very, very soon. Let me say big, big shout out to you. And we have a list of different people who's actually coming in. So if you see we haven't called you, it's not because we haven't called you. We don't want to call you. You haven't missed your turn yet. So let me say thank you. Paul, what happened to you? Big, big shout out to you, sir. Hope all is well with you wherever you are. My very, very good friend, Errol Taylor, big, big shout out to you. And don't forget to check out our tune, You Left Me for Paris. Yes. Also, check out the EP, Carl and Errol. You can find that EP online. You can find it on YouTube. If you go to YouTube, type in Carl and Errol, the EP, and you'll see an EP there. We got quite a few songs on that EP. And the one big track we got is like You Left Me for Paris. Yes, written and produced and played by us, you know what I mean? And let me say big, big thanks for that. And also we got another track called Set Your Spirit Free. We also wrote a song about Mandela. It's called actually Mandela. And that song came about when actually Mandela, gotta say, when Mandela died, I was at home and I was actually just sitting down. And I says, nobody seems to write songs about human beings anymore. You know what I mean? You know, back in the 60s, you heard a lot of songs being wrote about Marvin Gaye. Marvin Gaye did one, you know what I mean? And a lot of artists did different songs about other artists and are all their national hero, whether it be a Martin Luther King Jr. So we always say we don't see that sort of thing anymore because I guess the culture has changed. You know what I mean? And a lot of people used to write songs about fight the power back in the United States. We don't see that sort of tunes anymore. So when Nelson Mandela died, I was actually sitting at home and I was having a sip. No, I don't mean smoke. I don't smoke. You know what I mean? I was just having a slight little drink. And the whole song just came flooding into my hair, you know what I mean? Just flooding into my ears, which was actually marvelous. And I said the track is called Mandela. Check that track out, yeah. And big shout out to my very good friend, Errol Taylor. I say big shout out to you. Hope all is well with you. Also, Errol, your family and your sister, big shout out to you. And also the Richards family, let me say big shout out to you. And if it's your birthday, let me say happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Hope all is well with you, yeah. And have a great birthday, and let me say thank you. Also want to say big shout out to the group. I've actually got into this group, you know what I mean? And I always say I don't like to join group. I was away from it was a musical group. But I've actually found myself joining this group, and they're called General Chat, yeah? Let me say big shout out to you, General Chat, wherever you are. I hope all is well with you. And as I say, big good afternoon to you. General Chat, I should say, thank you for tuning into the program. But I know a lot of you give me the thumb up. Let me say thank you, maximum respect. And all you guys, we'll be in contact very, very soon. Yes, yeah. As you know now, I always sort of look at a few things that is happening across the world. The boy can't chat to you now. Now, let me go very, very serious. Now, calling to the Daily Mail and a couple of other things I actually come across. Now, I saw one headlines, and it says lawless London. Now, 4 people stabbed within a couple of hours, within less than 2 hours, I should say, in London. This will happen in East London over the weekend. An 18-year-old has been arrested on suspicion of murder, which you see this is actually happening. Also, within 51 hours, I was checking today, 51 hours, yeah, London, see, 6 stabbing, yeah, 2 killed, and a man set on fire. And this happens from about 5 a.m. Monday till late on Tuesday. So we see the big things that's going on in our capital. You know what I mean? You don't wonder what is going on. Also, a man has actually been, you know what I mean, he was in his car and he was actually stabbed. And this happens in Queensland Close in London. Also, another man and in his 30s was found and he was also stabbed on the road. You know what I mean? And 2 more people were actually stabbed. Yes. And Stockfield Road, this is also in London, and 2 persons has actually been arrested. So we see more and more knife crime seems to getting worse and worse all the time, and we don't know what is actually causing this and what is how they're gonna stop this. No, I know some people says if they really want to stop it, they know how, but I don't know how, and that is something I'd like to debate with my next guest or whenever we talk about this topic again. And when my next guest come into the studio, we actually can debate it, you know what I mean? So it will be good to see how we can actually reduce this this sort of figure. But I can remember once, you know, I can remember once in the United States, it was all gun. It was very, I think it was in the 80s and the 90s. So many people was actually shooting each other like nobody's business. I don't know. I'm not quite sure that has reduced because we still see gun crime in the United States. You know what I mean? And this was like African American against African American. We used to see that very regular back in the 80s and then into the 90s. You know what I mean? I don't know if that actually slows down, but we see a lot of knife crime in the United Kingdom, and even different things that actually happen in the United Kingdom with that sort of thing, and you don't know when it's going to come to an end or how you're going to get a grip of this sort of situation. Now, my next story takes me to Birmingham. Now, Birmingham is actually where we actually broadcasting from, and as I said, my next story takes me to Birmingham, and Birmingham police has actually have been using what we call the special power across the city, and this is due to a shooting at a wake. This is actually Birmingham Hampstead Road, not too far from actually where we are, about 3 or 4 miles from where we are. And the incident happened on Friday. Some people was at a wake, and a gunman opened fire. He was driving, and he opened fire, and he just started shooting. You know what I mean? I think actually 3 people was taken to hospital, and they're actually recovering it in the hospital. Now, the police, on the back of that, of actually what happens, they've actually result in bringing the act in, the acts, which you call Section 60. Now, Section 60 give the police the authority to stop and search, yeah, anyone. And no one's talking about stopping and searching. I don't know if this goes straight across the city, but I presume it will go across the major part of the city. And they give the police the right to actually, I should say the police the right to actually stop people in Handsworth, Newtown, Aston, Perry Bar, Spring Hill, or all where they think crime is being committed or they're suspicious of anyone. So, as I say, Section 60, that's what it's actually called. So they're actually using it now. And they say they're using this to actually prevent further crime across our city. So it's one of those ones. I know this sounds a bit morbid, what I'm talking about, but it's the reality of things, you know what I mean? And it's all right, we jump up and have a nice time and say, oh, don't talk about that sort of thing. But it's happening around us, and people are getting killed, and people are losing lives, you know what I mean? Sometimes when I talk about it, people say, Carl, you should almost talk more about the good things. It is good to talk about the good things, but life is very important. You know what I mean? We can't just take life like it doesn't matter. We can't just take life that is, you know what I mean? It's just, we take it for granted. We take it for granted. And when I talk about things like this, I don't take life for granted. So when I see somebody losing their life, or when you see youngsters killing each other on the street, you know what I mean? We take it for granted. I don't take it for granted because it's a very serious thing. And that is why we talk about it. Is enough being done? Are we putting enough pressure on the system to sort of reduce this? And that is what I actually mention this and actually talk about this, yeah? I hope you can understand that. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the program. Now, my next story concerns Levi Davis. Now, Levi Davis, the rugby player, and he was also on I think it was also an X Factor, the television program. Well, Levi Davis actually disappeared about 4 months ago, and I think he's been spotted probably possibly once in possibly a Barcelona. Well, the Barcelona crimes unit has actually taken over the case. He is still officially missing, but I say the Barcelona crime system or the crimes unit has actually taken over the case and are hoping to, if they can get any evidence of where he is or what is going on with him. And I know his mother and his family is very, very concerned about what is actually happening with him. And I say Levi has is gone missing and nobody sort of know where he is. The other thing as well, I should say to you, what we've actually seen as well about Levi since he's gone missing, there's all sort of speculation going on social media. There's all sort of things actually going on social media about what is happening with him. Nobody knows what's happening. And people are making up their own stories on social media, you know what I mean? And I think this is hurting the family very much, you know what I mean? So I would actually say if you can stop, you know what I mean, doing this, it will be very, very helpful to the family. I know social media does that as well, you know what I mean? So it's just a terrible situation, you know what I mean, when social media starts speculating of what's happening. And we see a lot of social media was actually speculating about the one lady who actually disappeared a couple of weeks ago, who they actually found her body in the river. Her body had been discovered, and there was a lot of speculation about that also. Yeah, so it's just, I wish people wouldn't do that. Yeah, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the program. I want to say big shout out to you, Maxine, wherever you are. I know you like the program, so let me say big shout out to you. Also, Christine, let me say big shout out to you. Claire, how you doing? Hope all is well with you. Let me say thank you for tuning to the program. Colin, how you doing? Big shout out to you. Rose, Jade, Michelle, Sean, Colin, Donna. Let me also say big shout out to you. Hope all is well with you. Thanks for tuning to the program. Now, Jamaica. Go to Jamaica. Jamaica Loop News. Now, police on high alert. The JCF members has on high alert because of criminal has actually been attacking them. And there has been attack for like 12 days. From the 13th to the 25th of February, there have been, seems to be an intense attack on the JCF force in Jamaica. And quite a few members have actually been killed and 4 others has been injured in this terrible attack. And it's one of those things that is actually happening, you know what I mean? And you just don't know what exactly is happening, you know what I mean? And say, when you see like the JCF being attacked like that, you know what I mean? Or your security force or your police force being attacked by criminals, you know what I mean? And I know like people can say all kind of different things because that's how we are. You know, we say all kind of different things. They're this and they're that and all the rest of it. But you know what I mean? Sometimes you have to support your own law enforcement, you know what I mean? Because if we didn't have like sort of police or soldiers, the whole world would go crazy, wouldn't they? And I've said, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the program. And please subscribe to the program now or share the program now, yeah? Let me say thank you. And don't forget, you can also leave your comments on our screen also, yeah? Leave it in the box and tell us what you think, yes? Now, let me move on. Now, this lady, Jean Ann Panton, and she actually worked for the Wealth Advisor Company, which is actually Stocks Security Limited, SSL in Jamaica. And she was remanded in custody on Friday, and she hasn't been given bail. And it is alleged by the she sort of ciphered millions of dollars in a fraud case that is actually going on. And this is actually the same case that actually allegedly with Usain Bolt, you know what I mean? So, as I say, I think she actually plead. I did see somewhere last week, she actually said she did it, you know what I mean? Allegedly, she said she did it. And so we'll actually see how that case is turning out. I know a lot of people on social media has also been saying she's probably admit she's done it. That's the word. She probably admits she's done it because she's covering up for somebody else. We hear this all the time as well. You see, this is more more speculation and more speculation. She's probably done it, and she's probably hasn't. She's probably done it, and some people are saying she probably hasn't done it because she's probably covering it for somebody else. And I say, sometimes you just don't know what is going on. And I say she's due back in court on the 19th of April 2023. Yeah, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the program. Yeah, as I say now, my next story is very, very interesting. And now, I always think this was wrong anyway. Yes, I always think this was wrong. Now, the age for getting married in the UK has gone up. It's gone up to the age of 18. You could get married in the UK with your parents' consent at the age of 16. Yes, I never agree with that, really. I know a lot of people will say different things to me. I never agree with that. I always think the age to get married is either 18 or 21. I know somebody going to say to me, well, you can go to war when you're 18, or you can go to war when you're within that sort of age group, you know what I mean? But I always think the age group should go up to 18 where you can get married, or 21 where you can get married, you know what I mean? I think that is the right move. And this also, why this is happening in England and Wales, and why they really put this up is the fact because they want to stop abuse of children, you know what I mean, of younger children, or they want to stop young people being forced into marriage, you know what I mean. So that is why they actually put this age group. And as I said before, I repeat myself, I've always thought the age group should have been higher. What do you think about that? You think the age group should have been higher? I know some, like what we can say, some dirty old men or some dirty old people, you know what I mean, would like it to be lower. No, we don't support those kind of things, you know what I mean, because we know they're out there, you know what I mean. I think they're just disgusting sort of people who actually support the age group, which is below 16 or 16, you know what I mean? Because 16 you're a child, 15 you're a child, 14 you're a child, you know what I mean? These are like what you call dirty old people, or dirty old women, or dirty old men, you know, because it works both ways. You don't just work one way. It works dirty old men or dirty old women who actually wanted the age to be reduced, you know what I mean? As I say, I don't think that should ever happen, you know what I mean? So as I say, you can put it in, put what you think in our box and tell us what you think, because I think, as I say, 15, 16, 17, you are still a child. I mean, come on, why you want to get married? You're still at school when you're 16. Why you want to get married when you're at school at 16? You know what I mean? As I say, you can marry with your parents' consent when you're 16 at school. Before, why do you want to get married at 16 and you're at school or you're still at school? So as I say, put your comments in the comment section, and let's have a chat about that, you know what I mean? Let me say thank you. And I'll say that is also very good. It's good to see they actually doing that. And I think one of the reasons as well I say it's to stop abuse of young people, you know what I mean? These dirty old people, dirty old men or dirty old women who's abusing young people, you know what I mean? And it's sometimes it's always the older people who's doing this, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? I know young people's got their fault, but sometimes it's always the older people. You know what I mean? The older people, they're always doing that sort of thing. You know what I mean? Both men and women, the dirty old people, I call them. Yeah. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the program. And I say, put your comments in the section, yeah, in the box. Yeah. Let me say thank you. Don't forget, as I say, comment. Yeah. Now let me move on. Now Rihanna, move on to entertainment. Now Rihanna, yes. Rihanna and her wonderful ASAP Rocky has been on the cover of British Vogue magazine, the whole family, and her new baby. And isn't that absolutely marvelous? You know what I mean? And don't they look absolutely fantastic? I gotta say, they look absolutely marvelous. And you know, Rihanna is actually pregnant again. You know what I mean? So we see how she does there. You know what I mean? I say they actually look a whole family completed. Now, there's some gossip. I know. No, this is allegedly. There's some gossip now. I gotta say, allegedly, allegedly going around that they've got married, but there's no proof of that. We haven't seen it. But you know, social media always getting these things going around, and they haven't come out and said they've got married. But a lot of people are commenting on social media. You know what social media is today? Social media has taken over the world, do the whole lot of stupid things. You know what I mean? Social media is good in some sense, but it's also bad in some sense. You know what I mean? So, as I say, Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And say, put your comment in the comment section. Yeah. Thank you. Wow. Now, this is an interesting one now. Let me move on. Now, the rapper Cardi B. All you young guys are the Cardi B. I like Cardi B myself. Now, Cardi B is not happy. Now, Cardi B is not happy in getting up early to do community service. She pleaded guilty to misdemeanor charges in September over a club brawl in 2018. And she actually get community service. Now, she's not happy in getting up and doing her community service. Now, I don't want to be harsh here. And because you don't know what's happening, you don't know what can happen, you know what I mean? But they say, if you can't do the time, don't do the crime. That's what they say, yes? But community service is quite good, isn't it? You know what I mean? Community service is quite good. Perhaps if she was somebody else, you know what I mean? She probably could have gone to prison or serve a couple of months in prison. You know what I mean, but if she was somebody else, because sometimes we see a lot of these celebrities. You know what I mean, they sort of get it easy compared to the ordinary folks in the street, or compared to ordinary people like myself and you guys in the street. You know what I mean? So I said she's not happy in getting up and going, you know, doing. Let me talk it fast. She's not happy in getting up and doing her community service. See, I got it out. What? That's Cardi, isn't it? She got some wonderful tunes. I think she's got a couple of tunes coming out as well. I'm saying, big shout out to you, girl. Get up and go and do your community service, because you're not going to do it for all the time, and you're not going to do it for very, very long. So get up out of your bed and go and do it. Me talking to Cardi B like that. Can you imagine? Can you imagine what she said to me? But I've got this platform, so I can actually do that. Yeah. Now, let me move on. Now, reggae music. Let me talk reggae music for a little while here now. Now, dancehall music and dancehall producer and reggae producer, Joey Lyric, the producer, he says inner city youths are not listening to reggae music anymore. They can't identify with those, what he call uptown artists, what we call the star breakers. Is he right or is he wrong? Now, and reggae music, he referred to reggae music as a spiritual and a revolutionary music. Reggae music is what he says, the voice of the poor. Zinc music. No, this is me putting this in now. He never said this, but this is what I'm going to put in. 3 o'clock music, roadblock. Yes, the dirty tough. My belly full but me hungry. A rain a fall but the dirty tough. A pot a cook but the food not enough. This is what I'm talking about. This is reggae music. So, he says a lot of the youngsters is not identifying it with this sort of thing, because a lot of the guys are making the music are from uptown, you know what I mean? And now, as I say, and also reggae music is what you call political. Check that. We don't want this, Mr. Politician. Don't do that. You know what I mean? Stir it up. We don't want that. You can't do that, Mr. Politician. It's the cry of the people. It's the cry of the poor people. That is reggae music. Yeah? And then you have the one where we got the Rastafarian coming. Jah live, children, yeah. Jah live, children, yeah. You understand? That is reggae music. And there's so many verses you could actually say about reggae music, you know what I mean? So, as I say, the uptown guys who's actually making what we call the star breakers and picking up those awards, they're not making that sort of music anymore. And I got to tell you this as well. I got to tell you this. The market is still there for this sort of music. You know what I mean? It's not because it's not there. Because we see when certain artists, when certain roots and cultural artists go abroad, you know what I mean, from the old generation, their tours are sold out. So the platform is still there for that sort of music, you know what I mean? So we'll see how it goes, you know what I mean? Instead of what we call, you know what I mean, that's and I'm not having a go at the what we call the uptown guys, because the uptown guys, things change, you know what I mean? You cannot let me go with a different level now. Things change. And you cannot be poor forever. You understand? Or if you're doing well, you're doing well. You know what I mean? So if the dirty tough and you left the dirty tough, yeah, just give me a second. Let me do this. Because this is a live stream, so I can do my eyes. If the dirty tough and you come out of the dirty tough, you're not gonna sing about the dirty tough anymore. Yes, you're gonna sing about something else. Common sense, isn't it? So if you've been poor, you're singing about poverty all your life. When you come out of the poorness and you get better and you're helping your own brethren or you're helping your own family, you remember that you've been poor, but you're not going to be singing about poor thing all the time, are you? Because you're in a different environment, and I think that is what is probably happening or what is actually going on. As I say, leave your comment in the comment section, yeah? And big shout out to all the reggae artists who do what they do, and I still love my reggae music no matter what. So it is an interesting one, and he was actually talking about this. This was actually, as I say, Joey was actually talking about this in Dancehall magazine. Yes. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. But I'd be like to know what your feedback and what he's actually saying. You know what I mean? I know you roots and culture people, what we call roots and culture people, will actually agree with that. But as I say, we need to see more roots and culture artists go back into the studio, or go back where they're not using the you know, this where we can get like true reggae music coming from the studio. You know what I mean? Instead of sort of everything being built with just this one rhythm on your laptop or your system or those special studio where they just get this sound. You know what I mean? And everything sort of sounds alike, because that is to me is not reggae. And I can't sort of knock it because the technology is there, but the technology is there. But it's how you use the technology, I also think. You know what I mean? And then the marketing. So and I know my producer will probably have something to say, because he actually can do this sort of stuff. You know what I mean? So it's something. And the other thing we see as well is a lot of sampling. You know what I mean? No more sampling, because the other thing about sampling is, you sample a tune and the tune don't belong to you, and instead of you think about it, or whoever marketing you, and you think about it, is that you sample the tune and the tune don't belong to you. In a couple of years' time, you're gonna have to pay for that sample. You're gonna have copyright. Yes, and we see a lot of artists. This is happening to now. A lot of artists. This is happening to. So when you can't go around sampling other people, you know what I mean, sampling other people's tune, you know what I mean, it's just a waste of time. You know what I mean, and I say, it is one of those ones. You know what I mean, and I say, you don't know what is going on. I say you can't. You know what I mean? You can't keep sampling. You know what I mean? You can't keep sampling other people's singing. Like Proof. It's like a crazy thing. It's like a crazy thing. As I say, you should start creating your own stuff instead of keep sampling. Because we see so many tunes over the years. Not just in reggae music. We know the big American. Hip hop market does that, don't we? We know that. You know what I mean? We know the big American artists does that. I mean, like I can think of one big American artist. I think his name is actually P Diddy, and he sampled the Police. Is it every sleep, every step you take? You know what I mean? He actually sampled that, and he's actually being sued for a lot of money, because the tune never belonged to him in the first place. You know what I mean? It belongs to the Police, so you can't keep sampling things. And we see a lot of artists now. We see a lot of reggae artists, also some dancehall artists. I'd say they're actually being taken to court for sampling other people's tunes. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things. And I say I think say P Diddy, he had to pay, like, you know what I mean, 100% off what he did with the Police tune. 100%. So he actually gets nothing. Yeah? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the program. I hope I actually cover that one. Yeah? Now, let me move on. I need to actually move on to this now. Now, wow. My rant. A couple of weeks, we went here last week. I was actually going to talk about this last week. Now, we see students in school. They take this. Couple of students at this other student in school in Denham Town, in Kingston. And they lick him in the head. They turn him around the wall, they lick him in the head. They kick him, they beat him in the head. Yes. And as you can see, they're kicking him. Now, what is going on in school? This is what I want to know. What is going on in school? Why is this happening in school? Yes. What is our teachers doing? What is our teachers doing? Why didn't somebody go and tell the teacher that this is happening in our school? Where is our teacher when this is happening? Yes. And this is a very, very serious thing when you see things like that. And the thing about this as well, when you see things like this happening, and it's not just happening in Caribbean school. We see it happening in schools in the UK. We see racist attacks in schools in the UK. You know what I mean? We see racist attack in different schools in different countries. We see this as well. So it's not just I'm not just picking on one particular place. I'm just picking it on a general. You know what I mean? And I got that photograph up. Now, what I feel as well about this is the fact that when you see this sort of thing, is that these are the same students, and I don't want to judge anyone. I only deal with common sense now. These are the same students that grows up to terrify our community, to cause serious distress in our community, to cause serious distress on our folks. So, I think our community, whoever they all need to come together and sort this out. The school community, the churches, the governments. If there's youth center, the youth center. Because you have to catch this. You have to catch this very, very young. You have to catch this, and you have to stop. You have to stop it. I'm not gonna say easy with it. You have to stamp it out. Because all this happens. These people come and terrorize our community. Yes, that's what they do. They grow up to terrorize our community. So you have to stop this. You have to stop it now. And I don't know how you're going to do it. But I would imagine it is where at this stage, yeah, I'd say at this stage, wherever it is, you can stop it because it's young. It is at a young stage. It's at a young stage. So I think you can stop it. And you have to come down very, very hard. Whether you put these children in different training groups, or send them what I can think about is send them to up camp. Yes, those of you who are from the Caribbean will know what I'm talking about. Up camp. Send them in different training groups when you see them doing like that, and stamp it out and be tough on them. You know what I mean? Put them in like a youth center where you give them proper training and proper discipline because they lack proper discipline. Yes. And we must stop this out because I say we must remove this because we must remove our gang culture because this is what it's going to turn into, a gang culture from the school. So when you see things like that is happening, this is what has to be done. You know what I mean? And you might say, who am I, Carl? Who am I talking about this? I only deal with common sense. And to me, this is common sense. You have to stop it. You have to stop it when they're very young. Because as I say, these people come up and terrorize our community. They terrorize our old, they terrorize our young, they terrorize they get into gangs. And then before you know it, they're running around our country and they're shooting up everywhere. Yes? So, and I said, this was a very, very sickening thing that is happening, you know what I mean? And I've also seen a pastor talking about this in the Caribbean, and he was actually saying, well, we all need to come together. The churches need to come together. The different groups come together. Different organizations needs to come together and see what we can and stop this from happening, you know, because it is happening and it's getting, you know what I mean? Once you used to go to school, you know, and the teacher said, you don't do this. Even those days, some of those teachers was very, very tough. And some of them was too tough. I got to say that as well. But once you used to go to school and the discipline was discipline. You know what I mean? I don't know what is happening now. I don't know if discipline is discipline or discipline is not discipline now. Or the teachers are scared or whatever, or they're frightened, or the government or the government tied the education board of what discipline should be. Yeah. But you can't have this, you cannot have this. And I say, the worrying for the older people or for the people in your community, and I say it again, these youths grow up and terrorize other people, and they terrorize your own country, and they become terrorists at the end of the day. It's not just that sort of terrorism we're talking about. Anything like this is when they grow up, that's what it is. It's terrorists. You know what I mean? So, as I say, hope it can stop as well. And they also ended up causing what we call domestic violence. Yes. So, if you don't stop it, that's what happens. Thank you. Leave your comments in the comment section. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the program. Now, right. Did I say I was going to talk about dopey? Oh, right. Now, guys, dopey. Let me ease up now. Now, what is a dopey? Now, in African heritage and in like Caribbean heritage, people from the West Indies, they call it dopey. Yes. Well, if you're from uptown, you call it a ghost. But if you're from the, just normal people, you call it dopey. Now, and if you're in the UK, they call it ghost. Yes. And there's actually so many stories over the years we tell about ghosts. And they talk about the rolling calf. They talk about this what you call the soul of the dopey turn into a person, and they can turn into animal, and they can turn into different things, and they can actually turn into rolling calf. Now, do you believe in dopey, or where do you think dopey come from? I also believe this is part of a common sense. You see the hooded up person there. I also believe in some cases as well. This was brought about to frighten early slaves, or to frighten the slaves. The slave master would put all this thing on his head, and when he don't want the slaves to run away, he come and frighten the slave, and say, "Dopey, this, you can't go out there." He's not gonna talk like that. That's me talking like that. He's not gonna use that accent, but you know where I'm going with this. And so I think that was also meant to frighten people. Over the years, we also see the KKK use that. The hood and that white sheet with the eye cut out. The same idea the KKK used to actually frighten people. That's where I actually think that sort of thing is coming from. But dopey are sort of spooky. Now, I got to tell you, as I say, everybody's got a dopey story. Let me have a quick look at this now. This is not a dopey. Let me look at this. Let's look at this. This lorry is driving down the road, right? And there you have it. You see, the woman appear. Now, everybody say, a lot of people, when I see this, and I show this to a lot of people, they say, that is a dopey. Well, that is not a dopey. Rewind. If we can rewind. I don't know if we can rewind. If you can rewind and go back, you'll see the lorry is coming around the corner. And the lady is actually around the corner. So as she comes around the corner, see, she goes around. And as it comes around the corner, there she is. She appears. So that is not a dopey. It is actually a lady walking down. But somebody actually saying that is a dopey and the lady just appeared there, which is what you call nonsense. Yeah. Now, I got to tell you now, as I said, everybody must have a dopey story. Now, I don't know what it was. I don't know what it was. When I was very young and I was growing up, there's two things I want to talk about. When I was very young and I was growing up, I recall one of our neighbors, very, very loving neighbor. I think I'll talk about this more. This is only my two experiences I've ever. This is one of my experiences. I'm going to talk about the next one in a minute. I recall I was growing up when I was very, very young, and my grandmother at the particular time, she sent me out to go and get some things from the shop. I was actually going sort of in the evening, what we call brown dust. So when I went to the shop, and I was walking through like a little path, and it had become very, very dark. Now, we had lost one of our neighbors. I'm not going to say what his name is because I don't want it to. A lot of people will know actually who this neighbor is. So I'm not gonna mention the family name. And I was actually walking then, and then all of a sudden, this person who had died, he just appeared in front of me, in the brown dust, and I would say like, "What you doing over there?" And I would say like, "Chris, what you doing over there?" His name wasn't Chris. I'm just using that as a thing. I said, "Chris, what you doing over there?" And he looked at me and he just looks at me and he looks at me and looks at me. And I said, "Chris, what you doing over there?" And then he looks at me and he looks at me and looks at me. And then he disappeared. Now, with all here about the swelling of the head, my head expand. My head expand. My head had grown. I had started growing hair on my head. So that was one of my experiences. My other experience is that many years ago I actually lived in a very, very tall Victorian house, and now this house is very, very tall, and you have downstairs and you have upstairs, and These nights, these nights when I used to go out and come in. I used to go out as you do, like as you a young man moving around and going around. And each night I came into my bedroom, which was really high up there, like really up. Somebody would come and knock on my window. And then knock on my window. And there's no way, the height of where my window was, there was no way somebody could get up there with a ladder at that time of night. I'm talking about 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. What was you doing out at that time, Carl? But that's where it was. That's why those are the time I was coming in. And somebody would knock on my window. And then I looked and I didn't see nothing. And then it happens. And I'll tell you why it happens to me. It happens and it regularly happens. It regularly happens. And I got used to it. And I got so used to it that each night when I go out, or when I was going out, each night when I go out and come back, I never look to hear the noise again. But each night, the person would, whatever it was, come and knock on my window. And then I was in my bed when this happening. When I was in my bed, I literally start waiting every time I go out and come back in my house to listen for this knock, if this not gonna happen. And as soon as this knock came, guess what? I go off to sleep. And I later learned that the owner of the house actually told me that this was a regular incident that actually happens to her when she actually lived in that particular house. And that's it can be strange. But so we all have our own different ghost story. We have our own dopey story. I mean, I always remember when I was growing up, I always heard about the what I call the witch of Rose Hall, which was actually in Jamaica. And I think I've actually been to that place as well. And there was talk about this woman who actually killed her husband or her men. I think she had quite a few different men, you know what I mean? And they actually also say that place was very, very haunted as well. I also know there's a place that we actually went to, which was the last year that we did we also like to celebrating Jamaican 60th independence, which was the 0121 Jamaica celebration independence. And this was at Aston Park. Well, in Aston Park, there is a big house, it's a big house, what we call the Aston Hall. It's a big hall. And that hall is actually, I've learned that hall is actually one of the most haunted places in our city. And the first resident, sometime in the 17th century, the first resident in that actually the house was actually Thomas Holt. Now, a lot of you who plays or goes to the Villa Park, you'll know there's a Holt's End. Yes, there's 2 ends, but there's a Holt's End. And that was what the Holt's End is actually named after. It's actually named after Thomas Holt. Now, Thomas Holt is supposed to actually is haunting Aston Hall, and a lot of people goes there all the time, you know what I mean, to see all these different things that is actually happening there, you know what I mean, and they have different events that actually happening there. I actually I got to tell you there's one more story I got to tell you, because this was also a very, very strange story. I remember I was out with my grandmother. And we was somewhere on the farm, because I was actually born in Kingston, but I went to country. I lived in country, so my family is from the country. And we actually go when we went on the farm, and then went on the farm, and then I went to get some water. I remember when I get to some water, and there was no cow. There was no cow on our farm. And there was no way any cow could have wandered onto our farm, because everything was sort of fenced around where I was. And, you know what I mean, the property we had wasn't big enough for cows anyway to sort of be there. And I remember I went and get this water. And there was nothing when I get this water. And then all of a sudden I look up, because I've heard the story of rolling calf. Right there. And all of a sudden I look up, and there was this cow in it. And I was terrified. Where's this cow come from? So, and this cow just appears. It just appears like nobody's business. And I run back to my... and I must not get excited. And I actually rushed back to my to where my grandmother was. And I said, none. I said, we didn't say grand. We said, grandma, granny. We said, granny. We said, granny. Granny. We just a rolling calf. My granny said, don't be stupid. That is one of the call. We're going to have him in 2 weeks too. We're going to eat him in 2 weeks' time. So that was it. Because when you see, because when you're in country, you see, I must not get excited. When you're in country, you see, you live in a farm or you live near a farm. These people cultivate their animals, you know what I mean? And so you eat your animal. You eat your animals, you know what I mean, that you actually grow. Whether that be beef, which is cow, you know what I mean, or also the things that people grow on these farms, well, they actually eat it. I mean, and I must tell you guys, when you go to the shop and buy your meat or whatever, it don't come out of the fridge. It has to be killed. I know that may sound gruesome. Let me do this. My eyes keep dripping. It has to be killed and dead. he goes to sort it out, and then it ended up in the supermarket. Yeah. So those are some of the things. And let me don't forget, if you got any ghost stories, you can actually put it in our comment section. You know what I mean? And I say I was actually checking, and there's actually been lot of ghost sighting in actually the UK. There's also the Birmingham Council House. Birmingham Council House is actually haunted by I think it's actually haunted by a very well known, you must have heard this wherever you are in the world. You would have heard of Joseph Chamberlain. Well, Joseph Chamberlain actually haunts the Birmingham Council House, which is actually in the middle of our city. Yeah. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. But honestly, in a place in Yorkshire, Nottinghamshire, I should say, in Nottinghamshire, there's been 250 sightings of ghosts within the year of October 2022. Yes. So there's actually a lot of sighting being sighted over the years. And I say, what is your experience of seeing a ghost? I've seen a duppy. I know when we talk about now duppy, I know, and even we also have artists. We also have artists who actually talk about duppy, and we have artists who actually sings about duppy. It must be a duppy or a gunman. I heard that one. And the other one is Bob Marley. You know what I mean? Bob Marley sings about duppy conqueror. You know what I mean? So Bob Marley, and I think that as well. What a lot of people use as well to sort of stop their fear of duppy is their religion. Yes, because they will use their religion to stop any fear of what we call duppy or what we call ghosts or what we call, a lot of people still don't understand, or what we call that we're uncertain about, or what we don't sort of know about. You know what I mean? So it is one of those ones. And I said the worst one they actually talk about, the rolling calf. You know what I mean? And the other thing about duppy as well, there's so many people that tell so many different stories about duppy. Now, some of the best duppy story actually comes from some of the best duppy story actually comes from the guys who what we call has the you know that white spirit the RN you know that white spirit when them drunk and them take the RN, yes. Some of the best stories actually come from those guys, you know what I mean? Like I say, there's actually duppy stories all over the world, you know what I mean? So and it's one of those ones, you know what I mean? So don't forget, as I say, to like, share, and subscribe to the program. And when you drink, well, a lot of those guys who actually drink the rum, you know what I mean? What we call the you know the one. I actually know the one. I don't know if I want to say that really, but a lot of people when they're drunk and they tell stories, you know what I mean? You heard all kind of different stories about me go along the side, man, and me see what rolling calf, you know. And him run me down, you know. Me have to run and then me turn back and lick him in the head and him disappear. So that is the white robe that we actually say, which is actually talking. As I say, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the program. I want to say a big shout out to the Legacy Center of Excellence, the Legacy Center of Excellence. And if you got a chance, go down to the Legacy Center of Excellence tonight. I think they actually has an open mic session down here, and they have that open mic session every the first of every month. In the first Wednesday in every month, I should say. So go and check that out. So I want to say a big shout out to all you guys who actually Go and check that out as well. Let me say big shout out to you. And big shout out to Miss Culture Jam. Big shout out to you. Let me say big shout out to you. Hope all is well with you. And so, big shout out to you. And so I hope you get the support that you actually need down there. I want to say you can also check us out right here at New Star Radio. We are actually on, you know what I mean, www.newstarradio.com, you know what I mean? And you can also, there's a lot of stuff you can actually do here at the ACMC. And there's actually rooms which is actually for hire, you know what I mean? So, and then you can get in touch and book the ACMC room for hire, you know what I mean? And that is, you can have different events, you know what I mean, coming up. And check that out whenever you can and book your event right here at the ACMC Center. And that is 339 Dudley Road. Come and check it out, yeah? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the program, yeah? Hope all is well with you. What I say, now, my final little, I should actually say, 339 Dudley Road, B28 4HB. That is the address for any events you care to book at the ACMC Center. Now, let me B18 4HB, I should actually say, is the postcode. 339 Dudley Road, B18 4HB. Now, my final little thing I want to talk about too, because I've got some time. Now, we see different crashes all over the place. And we see a lorry there. You know what I mean? Look at this. Look at actually what's happening. Sliding and sliding and sliding and sliding. Then boops. You know what I mean? You have to be so careful. And then you have to be so mindful of when you see these things. Or whatever you're doing, they're actually fixing a thing there. And everything is just falling over. You know what I mean? And look, carelessness. You have to be so careful when you're behind the wheel. So it's always good to sort of be careful whatever you're doing, you know what I mean, to avoid sort of major crashes. And because we see so many different crazy crashes on our road, you know what I mean. So you always have to be very, very mindful of some of the things that can actually happen. Look at this. Now this is downright stupid. That is just downright stupid, isn't it? Why do you want to do that? Mind you, when saying that, I probably would have gone the other way. But I said those are the stupid things. Look at this as well. Look where the tire. Look at the side of the tire. Yeah. And it's even on the front tire as well as the back tire. Now, how do you get your tire like that and still driving around with it? Now, this is also crazy. Absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy driving on the road. You know what I mean? I don't know what is going on here. I don't know why he's doing that. I've never seen something like that before. This is also another crazy situation. You know what I mean? Look at this. How is he allowed to have that car on the road? Where is he driving? Where is he driving to? Where is he actually driving to? No, he's driving that car. He can't actually see through the back of the car if it's like that. You know what I mean? I know he got his door mirror, but it's just crazy like that. No, that's a BMW. Never know you could do that to a BMW. Now, look at that. Why would a bus be doing up there? What is a bus? Oh, Lord. Oh, dear me, dear me. What's going on here now? What's going on here? This is what you call one of them car plane, isn't it? I didn't say car plane. I said car plane. Oh, a little doggy. That is not Lewis Hamilton doing that. Just it's not. Lewis would never ever do that. Yeah. Wow. As I say, these are just crazy things when you're on the road, and you have to be so mindful of all those kind of crazy things. Yeah. Anyway, guys, let me say thank you for tuning to Breakthrough TV. Carl, what's on your mind? Let me say thank you. Big shout out to all of you. Have a great week. We are in March, I should say before I go. We are in March. Now March, as the 8th of March is actually International Women's Day, and it's also what we call Women's Month in March. So I'm gonna have a couple of guests in a couple of programs that's coming up in March, and chat to a couple of ladies, and we'll talk about International Women's Day, and we also have to talk about International Women Month, as they call it, you know what I mean? So let me say thank you. Thank you for tuning into the program. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the program. And also share the program. And don't forget to put your comments in this comment section. Let me say thank you. Big shout out to all you guys. Let me say thank you once again. I want to say thanks to my producer. He's got it lock this afternoon. Thank you, sir. Have a great week, guys. Have a great weekend. Look after yourself. God bless. Catch you back next week. My time is here. Thank you.